We say we want the truth. We demand facts. We prize objectivity. And we claim to seek reality exactly as it is. Yet our daily behavior paints a very different picture, an active, near universal terror of actually finding it. We avoid unvarnished reality because it poses an immediate threat to the fragile mental frameworks we use to make sense of the world. Think of this framework as an illusion architecture, a carefully constructed set of comforting assumptions keeping existential chaos locked safely outside. When raw, unfiltered reality makes contact with this structure, the impact acts as a highly destructive force, aggressively destabilizing our delicate order. Faced with that destruction, human psychology triggers a powerful defensive reflex. Rather than doing the exhausting work of updating our entire worldview, we actively reject or ignore the new information to keep our internal structure standing. Our loud demands for the truth are largely a self-deception. Biologically and psychologically, our highest priority is the preservation of our illusions at almost any cost. This avoidance mechanism scales up from the individual to the entire species. Society itself operates as a massive infrastructure designed to manage this collective fear of reality. We can visualize this system as a conformity engine. This diagram represents a mechanism designed to catch the overwhelming flow of raw, chaotic facts and process them into something that won't trigger mass cognitive dissonance. In its first phase, the engine actively scans for unvarnished facts that threaten group cohesion or contradict shared social narratives. Once isolated, these threatening data points are pushed through a rigorous filtration process. The information is systematically sweetened, muted, and disguised to remove any sharp, destructive edges. What drops out the bottom of the funnel is a highly curated, falsified version of reality. It is a palatable narrative that the public can easily consume without experiencing the slightest psychological distress. The default function of our social systems is the active dilution of reality to maintain order and peace. A mechanism this massive cannot run on autopilot. It requires continuous, active maintenance across generations to survive. Society maintains this engine by dictating a strict social hierarchy, specifically controlling who younger generations are taught to admire. We systematically corrupt youth by instructing them to hold those who think alike in higher esteem than those who think differently. The constant, heavy pressure to belong slowly rewires the brain. Over time, the instinct to align overrides native critical thinking. Prioritizing group cohesion over objective reality eventually destroys the individual's baseline capacity to even recognize unfiltered facts. When the cost of seeing reality is social exile, perception itself dims to match the group. Societal harmony is purchased at the steep cost of individual clarity. Participating in the collective delusion becomes a mandatory requirement for membership in the herd. Leaving the warm, well-lit safety of that collective illusion means stepping directly out into a harsh, isolated environment. If the default state of society is to dilute information, then true resilience requires actively fighting against those comforting filters. This brings us to a distinct kind of spiritual strength. It is a measurement not of physical dominance or social influence, but of raw intellectual fortitude. We can map this measurement directly on a gauge of truth tolerance. The strength of a person's spirit is measured by the exact volume of unvarnished reality they can endure before they finally beg for the facts to be sweetened, muted, or disguised. Operating at the highest end of this scale carries a heavy existential burden. It demands stripping away all social protection and accepting near total isolation in exchange for absolute clarity. Look at your own mental framework. Identify the specific, comforting narratives you rely on right now, and ask yourself how aggressively you would fight to protect them if they were proven false today. Psychological freedom requires a deliberate choice. You achieve it only when you decide to value the stark, biting discomfort of reality over the suffocating safety of the herd.